Right, welcome to part two of Martial Epigram 1050, The Lament for a Dead Charioteer. You'll remember that in the first part of the poem, the first four lines, the poet's been asking various sort of personifications of things like glory and victory to lament, without saying why or without saying even the name of the dead person, just to start lamenting. It's a kind of cry of sorrow in a rather abstract way with these personifications. Now we go into the to what's really happened. So it begins with Heu facinus, okay, alas, the crime facinus often means, but here outrage is suggested, that's fine. So what an awful outrage, alas, alas for the outrage. And then the sentence continues, talking to the dead charioteer, Scorpe, which is the vocative of Scorpus. Scorpus is the guy's name, there he is. Scorpus, so he's talking to you. Orchidis, you die. And Jungis, you join. Okay, that's our two verbs, but let's go back to the start of that sentence and go through it again. So Scorpus, fraudatus means cheated or deprived. Our word fraud comes from that. Cheated of your first youth, prima juventa, those words agree. Cheated of your first or earliest youth, you die. And tam quito, quito means quickly, so tam quito is so quickly you harness, you join together, you harness the negros equos, the black horses. Okay, again, those two words agree. Those obviously are the horses of the chariot of death, and that's what Marshall's talking about here, is linking up the idea of being a chariot racer, but how that can be transformed into an image of death. So the first part of that transformation is the horses are now black horses, the horses of the underworld. Now, lines 3 and 4 of this part, the final two lines of the poem, are quite difficult to translate. It'll take a bit of time, this. Let's start. So, first of all, literally, Curibus tuis means in your chariot or with your chariot, and illa is that or this, here it means that, and it describes the meta right at the end. And the meta, if you remember, is the turning point or the goal, the point at the end of the run they have to turn around. And there are two different metai discussed here. The first one is the one that he used to race towards in the real races that he used to run. But also there's a kind of metaphorical sense of the goal or the turning point of your life, i.e. your death. So Marshall's asking, all the time that you were racing, going so fast down the Circus Maximus in Rome, was it the case that the turning point of your life was so near as well? Okay, that's the kind of sense. So let's go through it. So cur is why. Why was that turning point? Okay, and this bit here, the last few words of this line means always hurry towards and short, literally. Okay, so why was that turning point, which always was hurried towards and closed in on, possibly, by your chariot, the one you're always running towards, why also was the turning point of your life, vitae tuae, tam prope, so near? Right, so you get the idea that it's the poet's asking, why was that turning point, which we saw you running towards all the time, why we didn't notice that the turning point of your life was so near as well? You seem so alive and successful and speedy and young and all that, and yet your death was just around the corner. That's the kind of sense to that. If you look at this page here, this has got some translations. The first three, these three are from internet translations from the past, from old books. That goal, your speeding chariot always touched, why was your life's goal, like to it, so near? The chariot race was always shortened by your rapid driving, but oh, why should your own race have been so speedily run? That goal, whereto thy car sped ever in brief course and swiftly won, why to thy life was it so nigh? Now, those obviously are quite poetic. They're all quite different if you think about it, but you can't use those in an exam because it's not close enough to the Latin. So I've tried to have a version here which makes sense but also fits the Latin more closely. So that goal, which is illa meta, which you always hurry towards, is semper properata, in your chariot, tuis curribus. And I've done for brevis, short or close, closing in on it or closing on it. So that goal which you always hurry towards in your chariot, closing on it, ... then the sense kind of restarts, which is why it's a hard thing to translate. Why was also the goal of your life so near? That's a bit easier. Cur fuit, and then meta tuae vitae, and then tam prope. So you can use that if you like in your notes. Let's go back to the Latin. There we are. Okay, so using my translation with the Latin again in more detail, here we go. So that goal, illa meta, which you always hasten towards in your chariot, closing on it. Why was it also? Why also was it? So why also was the goal of your life, the turning point or end point of your life, so near? So the last 4 lines, just to recap, what a terrible thing. Scorpus, you've been deprived of your youth, you've died, and now you've joined so quickly the black horses, you've harnessed them to your chariot, and so he's now running a new kind of race. Okay, not the race when he was alive, but the race to the meta, the turning point, which is death.